My name is Bridget. I'm 33 years old, and I'm a mother to 2-year-old twins, Tom and Eva. We live in Atlanta, Georgia, and honestly, my daily life is a constant juggle to keep everything on track. 9 months ago, my world crashed down when Arthur, my beloved husband and a heroic firefighter, died in a blaze. Since then, it's just been the three of us, facing the grief, medical bills, and a graphic design job that barely lets us breathe. On Christmas Eve, grief caught me off guard. I found myself in a hospital bed at Atlanta General, writhing with such acute abdominal pain that it felt like my organs were tearing apart. My little ones played quietly in the corner with their stuffed animals, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me, both physically and emotionally. The doctors had just confirmed it. I needed emergency surgery for internal bleeding, a complication from the stress and exhaustion of the past year. Fear washed over me, not just for myself, but for Tom and Eva. Who would care for them if I didn't make it? My only option was to call my parents, Jonathan and Cynthia. I'd been sending them $2,000 a month since they retired 3 years ago, covering their mortgage and vacations. I did this even after Arthur's death drained our savings. I naively thought family supported each other, no matter what. My hands trembling, I dialed their number. The video call connected, and my mother's already irritated face filled the screen. "Bridget, what is it now?" she snapped. I explained the surgery, my voice choked with emotion, pleading for them to come to Atlanta to care for the twins. Her response was a slap in the face. "Don't even think about asking us to cancel our plans again. We have tickets to a concert tonight we bought months ago," she shrieked, her voice echoing in the sterile hospital room. My father interjected, his tone cold, "You're becoming a burden, Bridget. We're retired, we deserve to enjoy life." I stood there, stunned, holding the phone as tears stung my eyes. The twins looked at me, sensing my distress, and my heart ached for them. They had already lost their father, and now their grandparents chose a concert over them. Nurse Helena, checking my vitals, gave me a kind look. "Are you okay, dear?" she asked. I shook my head, unable to speak. My parents had always prioritized my younger brother, Bruno, their golden child, a musician in Nashville. I grew up watching my accomplishments, graduating college, marrying Arthur, having the twins, be mere footnotes compared to Bruno's gigs or his new guitar. But this was a new low. I ended the call, my chest tight with betrayal. Helena squeezed my shoulder. "My friend Amelia is a nanny, and she's great with kids. Let me call her." Her kindness was a lifeline in that dark moment. As I nodded, the pain in my stomach intensified, but it was nothing compared to the realization that the people who raised me saw me and my children as inconveniences. Lying in the hospital bed, awaiting surgery, my mind wandered to my childhood. My parents, Jonathan and Cynthia, owned a small hardware store, but their passion was Bruno. He was their pride and joy, the boy who could do no wrong. When I graduated high school with honors, they barely noticed because Bruno had just won a local talent show. When I got a scholarship to study graphic design in Atlanta, they complained about the drive to my graduation. And when I married Arthur, a gentle firefighter who loved me fiercely, they grumbled that the venue was too basic for their taste. Arthur was my anchor. He saw the pain my family caused and promised we'd build a better life for our children. And we did, for a while. Tom and Eva's laughter filled our small Atlanta apartment, and Arthur's bedtime stories made everything feel right. But 9 months ago, a fire in an old warehouse took him from us. The medical bills from his weeks in the ICU piled up, and my grief felt like an impossible weight to carry. Even so, I continued sending my parents those $2,000 every month, even if it meant tightening our belts for the twins. I thought that's what family did, sacrifice for each other. Now, with the hospital monitors beeping and Tom clutching his toy truck, I realized how naive I had been. My parents never sacrificed anything for me. They took my money, of course, but their love went to Bruno, to their vacations, to their new lake house. The twins deserved better grandparents than those who traded them for a concert. I felt a flash of anger, but mostly sadness for the little girl I was, who spent years seeking their approval, and for my children, who might grow up without grandparents. Helena returned, her voice soft. Amelia's on her way. She's amazing with kids. She used to work with children in foster homes. I nodded, grateful but overwhelmed. How much will this cost? I asked, thinking of the medical bills already looming. Don't worry about that now, Helena said. Let's get through this surgery. Her words calmed me, but the thought of the $2,000 I was due to send my parents next week gnawed at me. That money could pay Amelia, ensure my children's safety. For the first time, I felt a spark of defiance. As the hospital staff prepared me for surgery, fear consumed me. What if I didn't wake up? Who would raise Tom and Eva? The thought of my parents, who called me a burden hours ago, caring for them, churned my stomach. They had barely visited the twins, complaining they were noisy during their one brief stop after birth. I couldn't let my children grow up feeling like me, unseen, unimportant. Helena handed me my phone one last time before they wheeled me away. With trembling fingers, I opened my banking app and canceled the automatic $2,000 transfer to my parents. Then, I typed a message to them, I will no longer support you. My children and I deserve more than being last options. Don't contact me. I hit send, my heart pounding as the anesthesia took effect. I felt something unexpected, not just fear, but a strange sense of freedom. The surgery went well but left me weak and foggy. I spent 5 days in the hospital, drifting between sleep and pain. Amelia was a godsend, staying with Tom and Eva during the day and taking them to my apartment at night. She braided Eva's hair, played trucks with Tom, and somehow kept them smiling despite the chaos. My phone constantly vibrated, missed calls and texts from my parents, furious about the canceled payment. No one asked about my surgery or the twins. Their silence spoke louder than their words ever could. Bruno's message came on the 3rd day, hesitant and confused. Mom and Dad said you had a minor procedure. Why are they freaking out about money? My heart sank. They had lied to him, downplaying my emergency to justify their concert plans. Groggy from the painkillers, I typed out the truth, the surgery's risks, their refusal to help, the twins left in a hospital room. His reply was quick, I'm so sorry, Bridget. I had no idea. They said you were being dramatic. I believed him. Bruno wasn't cruel, just oblivious, raised to think the world revolved around him. Back in my Atlanta apartment from the hospital, I faced a new reality. Recovery was slow, every movement pulled at my incision, and caring for 2 toddlers felt impossible. But Amelia's help and my client's patience got me through. I made hard choices, hired Amelia part-time, contacted a lawyer to draft a will naming my friend Lucy as the twins' guardian, and blocked my parents' numbers. Bruno got a pass, but our conversations were cautious. I needed to see if he would truly change. Stopping the payments to my parents felt like lifting an enormous weight. That money now went to Amelia and to rebuilding the savings Arthur and I had lost. For the first time, I saw a future where I wasn't drowning in obligation. But my parents didn't give up easily. 2 weeks after the surgery, they showed up at my door unannounced. Through the peephole, I saw my mother clutching her purse, my father's arms crossed, his face etched with impatience. I opened the door a crack. What do you want? I asked, my voice firmer than I felt. My mother's tone turned sugary. Bridget, darling, we were so worried. I cut her off. You didn't ask about my surgery or the twins. My father pushed the door open. We need to talk about this money nonsense. The bank called about our mortgage. We had to use our vacation fund. Their audacity stunned me. No apology, no concern, just demands. I told you I'm not helping anymore. You chose a concert over my children when I could have died. My mother's voice rose. We depend on that money, Bridget. We bought the lake house because you promised to help. I laughed, bitterly. I never promised forever. You assumed I'd keep paying while you ignored me. Tom toddled over, holding his truck, and my mother made a cooing sound. He shied away, confused, and I felt a wave of protectiveness. You should go, I said, closing the door. Their pounding echoed, but I didn't relent. The days after my parents' visit were a blur of pain and progress. My incision still throbbed, but I was coping better, thanks to Amelia and my work from home. Then came the email, a group message from my father to the entire extended family, claiming I had abandoned them after they sacrificed everything for me. No mention of their concert choice or my surgery's risks. It was a masterclass in manipulation, and it stung. But my family surprised me. My cousin John, who lived near my parents, replied to everyone, Uncle Jonathan, didn't you just buy a new lake house? And Aunt Cynthia, wasn't that new SUV yours at Easter? Others reached out privately, asking for my side. Bruno, now fully on my side, helped me craft a response. I had emergency surgery with serious risks. My parents refused to care for Tom and Eva because of concert tickets. I'm focusing on my recovery and my children. The support flowed in. John's wife dropped off a lasagna, a distant cousin offered free babysitting, even my father's sister called, shocked by their behavior. Bruno visited, bringing groceries and spending time with the twins. Mom and Dad always said you drifted away from us, he admitted, watching Tom stack blocks. I didn't see how they pushed you out. His honesty softened me. Maybe he was waking up to their games. Meanwhile, Helena from the hospital connected me to a support group for young widowed parents. The first Zoom meeting felt like a family reunion. People who understood the pain of raising children alone, the guilt, the hope. One of the members, Letitia, a real estate agent and widow, became a quick friend. She'd lost her husband in a car accident and knew the struggle of starting over. My parents' texts kept coming, desperate now, but I held firm. I wasn't alone anymore. With Bruno, Letitia, and my new community, I felt the first glimmers of a life built on care, not obligation. A month after my surgery, Bruno called with news that rattled me, even though I detached from my parents' drama. They got a foreclosure notice, he said, his voice heavy. The bank's giving them 60 days to get current or they lose the lake house. I bounced Eva on my lap, Tom dozing nearby, and asked, what about their savings? Bruno sighed. Most of it's gone. They bought that lake house with a second mortgage, thinking you'd keep paying the first. Then Dad invested the rest in some shady scheme. Later, my parents' texts came, raw and pleading. My mother's stood out, we never thought you'd actually stop helping. We thought you'd calm down and send the money again. Their presumption that my boundaries were a bluff ignited a fire in me. All those years, they saw my sacrifices as their entitlement, never valuing me or my twins. I didn't reply, focusing on my children and the life I was building. Letitia from the support group became a safe harbor. Over coffee, she shared how she sold her old house to afford a better one for her son. You could do that, she said, looking around my cramped apartment. I'd also started a side gig, creating memorial websites, after making one for Arthur. The support group loved it, and orders started coming in. For the first time since Arthur's death, I felt purpose beyond survival. My parents showed up again, this time with a spreadsheet of their debts. We need $120,000 to save the house, my father said, his usual confidence shattered. I let them in, curious despite myself. What about the lake house? I asked, gesturing to my small sofa. We'd lose money selling it, he grumbled. My mother chimed in, and our beach condo. The market's bad. Their petulance, calling luxuries they couldn't afford retirement essentials, was almost comical. You could have helped me when I needed it, I said, my voice calm. Instead, you chose a concert. Tom toddled in, holding a toy airplane, and my mother reached for him. He hid behind me, wary. They don't know you, I said. You chose this. Their silence was deafening. I asked them to leave, feeling not anger, but clarity. My children deserve my strength, not their chaos. 3 months after my surgery, my parents' world imploded. Bruno updated me. They sold the lake house to avoid foreclosure, moving into a modest condo. The beach condo sold for pennies on the dollar, and my father sold his prized boat at a loss. They're telling everyone you forced them into this, Bruno said during a visit, rolling his eyes as he played with Eva. They say you promise lifelong support. I shrugged, unconcerned. The truth was spreading. My extended family, once swayed by my parents' sob stories, now saw their neglect during my surgery. My life, meanwhile, was flourishing. Letitia helped me sell my apartment and buy a 3-bedroom house in a quiet Atlanta neighborhood. The mortgage was cheaper than my rent, and the twins had a backyard to chase fireflies in. Neighbors welcomed us with casseroles, and the support group organized playdates. My memorial website business grew, allowing me to scale back graphic design work to spend more time with Tom and Eva. Amelia still helped 3 days a week, but I was finding my rhythm as a solo mom. 6 months after my surgery, a handwritten letter from my mother arrived. I almost threw it away, but curiosity won. Her words caught me off guard. I've been a selfish mother, Bridget. Seeing you thrive without us has forced me to face my failures. I was jealous of your strength, your life with Arthur. When you asked us to care for Tom and Eva, we failed you. I am so sorry. She detailed their changes, selling luxuries, my father working part-time at a hardware store, living simply. No pleas for money, just regret. I showed the letter to Bruno, who raised an eyebrow. They've been talking about writing to you, he said. Dad resisted, but his heart scare last month, high blood pressure, chest pains, changed him. He's on medication, listening to doctors. I frowned, a pang of concern mixing with doubt. Was this real, or another ploy? That night, I dug out old family photos. Behind the smiles, I saw the truth. My parents always put themselves first, playing perfect while neglecting me. But this letter felt different, raw, unguarded. I wasn't ready to reply. My focus remained on my children, my business, my new home. Letitia's advice echoed, you don't owe them forgiveness, but you can choose what's best for you. The support group shared similar stories of family estrangement, helping me process the mix of anger, hope, and caution. Tom and Eva's giggles in the backyard kept me anchored. Whatever my parents' intentions, my children came first. If they wanted back in, they'd have to prove they had changed, not with words, but with actions. A year after my surgery, I agreed to meet my parents at a quiet Atlanta coffee shop. Bruno watched Tom and Eva, as I wasn't ready for a full family reunion. When my parents walked in, I barely recognized them. My father's usual swagger was gone, his shoulders slumped. My mother wore simple jeans, not her usual flashy dresses. We sat, the silence heavy until my father spoke, his voice thick. I've been a terrible father, Bridget, and an even worse grandparent. I don't expect forgiveness, but I see now how selfish we've been. My mother nodded, her eyes welling up. We're in therapy, Bruno's idea. It's hard, but it's helping us understand what we did to you. I listened, my guard up. They had hurt me too many times for me to trust easily. I shared pictures of the twins, talked about our new house, my business. They didn't interrupt or make the conversation about themselves. At first, my heart softened, but only a fraction. As we finished, my father asked, could we be part of Tom and Eva's lives someday? I studied him, then replied carefully, perhaps, but they'll be short, supervised visits, and only if you respect me as their mother. They nodded, no arguments. Leaving, I felt neither the old resentment nor a rush toward reconciliation. Instead, I felt steady, rooted in my own worth. My children deserved an unburdened love, and I would ensure they had it, whether my parents put in the effort or not. A year and a half after that hospital bed, I'm not the same Bridget. Tom and Eva are thriving, their laughter filling our little Atlanta house. My memorial website business is steady, allowing me to work around their schedule. Bruno is a true brother now, showing up for the twins' birthdays and calling just to chat. Letitia and the support group are family too, playdates, late-night talks, shared tears, and triumphs. Even Helena visits me, her kindness a reminder of the stranger who saved me when my own parents didn't. My parents are still on the sidelines. They've continued therapy, and we've had a few short visits with the twins, always with me present. They're trying, small gifts for Tom and Eva, asking about my life without demands. But trust takes time, and I'm okay with that. I've learned that my worth isn't dependent on their approval. I'm a mother who would walk through fire for her children, a woman who built a life from the ashes. The scars from my surgery and my parents' betrayal still ache sometimes, but every day I choose joy, Tom's messy paintings, Eva's whispered bedtime stories, backyard picnics with my new community. I'm no longer alone. I've found people who see me, who show up, who love unconditionally. And I'm teaching my twins to do the same, to love fiercely, but to hold on to their own worth. Thank you for listening to Bridget's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share to support us in bringing you more moving stories, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new releases. See you in the next video.